Just in case you didn't know, this last session is on my website. That's at markbates.ca. It's the recording, and in the attachment section up here in the upper right-hand corner, if you click on the paperclip, you'll see that the Smart User Guide is there. And I'll just give you a warning before you print that off. If I was going to print it off, I would go double-sided on the photocopier because it is quite a lengty document. Okay, so last time what we had gone through is we took I would say it was about 30 to 40 minutes, and we kind of I gave a brief orientation to Smart Notebook, what you would see on my screen right now, and I hope everyone can see my screen. Just gonna put here. And we went through the text menu up above, and we went through the majority of the icons on our toolbar. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, in the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk about several of the tabs that we have running down the side of our Smart Notebook. And we'll talk about a few of the buttons that we see down here, which you will recognize from the ones we talked about here last day. So let's begin. So we did talk about the first tab last time, and that being the page sorter. So today we're going to look at the page sorter. We're going to look at and discuss the gallery tab, the attachments tab, properties tab, the activity builder tab, and we're going to talk about, for those of you, well, we'll talk about regardless if you have Smart Notebook 10 or Smart Notebook 11, but in Smart Notebook 11, there's been some changes from the gallery tab to a new one, which is the gallery beta tab. Neela, can you hear me okay? I'm going to take a guess that you can't hear me if you're typing, so I'll just ask the question anyway. So again, to check to see what version of Smart Notebook you have, click on, I'm just going to get rid of that menu, click on Help. Great. Click on Help, and you're going to go to About Smart Notebook. And on the window that pops up, you're going to click Technical Support, and there you can see that right now I have Smart Notebook version 11, and they have some extra digits there, but basically Smart Notebook 11, version 11. That's the most current. And that's usually when you make a help desk call, that's usually what you want to make reference to, that you want to upgrade from what version to what version. Okay, so those are the tabs that we'll focus on today. So we talked about the page sorter tab. And whenever you create a new page, by either clicking the icon for add a page up here at the toolbar, or on the tab sorter down below, you can click here, or you could actually go insert blank page here. So 3 different ways. Again, like I mentioned last day, I tend to go by the icons. So when I click Add Page, a new page appears in my slide sorter, and I know it's the slide number 2 is the one that I created, because if I look at the timestamp, that has today's date and today's time, 3:36, and this one says 3:04. And then down here, 2:53. So this is the first one I made, the second one I made, and the third one. And once they're in here, I can modify a few things. I can change from where it says the date and time. I can right-click on that, and I can go rename page, and I can, well, I could call this the newest slide. And then you hit enter, or I could click anywhere off of the text box area. And now, instead of the time and date, it now has my description. And you can kind of see, for example, if you had a long list of pages in your slide sorter, adding names to them, it's a lot more easy to identify the contents of the slide, because especially if it was more of a text-based slide, it's difficult to make out what's on it. So this helps just for your navigation. What I can also do is I can, by clicking on the slide, left click and hold, so keep the button pressed down, and I can drag that slide, and you can see now when I move up, a horizontal blue bar appears, and I can let it drop. I just wanted to check, I just had I think someone might have started their video. If you can still see my screen, would you mind just typing into the instant messaging that you can see my screen? Okay. That's great. I lost you on the screen. Okay. Well, okay, I'll start. Let me see if I can start this up again. I'm going to start sharing my screen again. Okay. I think that the problem is on my end. I think my computer's in the process of freezing up on me. Please bear with me. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see my screen now. Okay, you can see in here. Okay. Oh, okay, great. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I was just mentioning before the technical issue that you can manipulate the order of the slides manually just by left-clicking, hold, and dragging. I can't. So okay. Thank you, Neela. That's probably a good strategy to try. And so we have reordering. We can also click on the chevron in the top right corner of any slide, and we can do things like we can delete the page. And again, I can use the undo button to get that back again. We can, if I have a page that has content on it that I want to do a similar activity, but I don't want to duplicate step by step what I did to make that slide. Oh, great. And you just click that chevron again, and you can choose to clone the page. There we go. And now we have two slides that are exactly the same. You can, again, rename the slide. You can add a screen shade automatically. So when I click that, we talked about the screen shade last day, that it's just like the idea of putting a piece of paper over the traditional overhead, and you're able to manipulate it to reveal various aspects of the page at a time to keep students' attention focused. And let's close that. So that's basically the page sorter tab. So that's where to go when you've created pages in order to rename them, clone them, delete them, and reorder them. Now, it does have another feature, which I'll quickly go into. And that's grouping. And this is, I think after Smart Notebook 9, this was a feature that came out. And basically what grouping does, you click where it says Group 1, you click the chevron to activate the drop-down menu, you click Edit Page Groups, and what you can do now is you can basically create chapters or group slides based on a theme. So it could be like Group 1 could be like Day 1. And then Day 2. So your lesson is broken into the days in which it would fall on. It could be visual prompts for, say, something like the Daily 5. So for each section of Daily 5, you have a different group with different slides on it. It could be different math problems, like addition, subtraction. So what it does is it allows you to, now when I go back, you see in the page sorter, as soon as I clicked add new group, and it added a blank grouping, you can see that heading is now down here as well. So when I click close on the group sorting tab, now I have my new group down here, down below. So it's just another way of visually being able to break up the slides and organize them. Okay, so that is page sorter. I'm going to skip down to the attachments tab because I want to talk about the gallery and the gallery data tab together. Now the attachments tab, and we briefly touched on this last day, this is kind of, I think, an underused tab or feature or group of features. Now with the attachments tab, you can add a copy of a file, you can add a hyperlink or a shortcut to a file on your computer, which think of that as just another way of hyperlinking. Instead of something to the web, you're just creating a hyperlink to something on your laptop. So for example, and why would I use this? Basically, it's about minimizing downtime. So if you know that there's, say, a PDF that you want to use in a lesson, then attaching it here saves you from having to go into Windows Explorer, waiting for that to open, which if you have a computer like mine today is extremely slow, waiting for that window to pop open, then navigate to My Documents, then try to find in your files where that particular document it was. What I can do ahead of time is I can go and I can click the Insert button, and I can either link to a shortcut to the file or copy of the file. What's the difference between the two? Well, say if I was going to share this with another teacher. So I created a lesson and I'm going to share it with someone. If you only put in the shortcut to the attachments, those links will be broken as soon as you email that document to someone because the link doesn't persist through email, for example. If you choose to insert copy of a file, it puts a copy and puts it inside. If you think of your Smart Notebook file as like a file folder full of all these pages, you can add in, say, a PDF document into that folder, and when you send it, the contents of that folder go with it. So that would be another example. Or say if I was going to send it, you have a supply teacher that often comes into your room. Again, they might not know what a certain document is that supports your lesson, or maybe it's the lesson, you have a copy of a Word document, a copy of your lesson plan that you want to attach to the Smart Notebook file. Well, what you would do is insert a copy of that into it. Now, if it's just you using it, then that's where maybe using a shortcut to the file might be a great idea. Similar to PowerPoint there, I like that it copies the PowerPoint. Yeah, exactly. And you know if you've ever sent a PowerPoint or received it for someone, things like movie files and audio files and hyperlinks to documents won't, they break basically, yeah. So that's kind of a nice feature here. Now, inserting a hyperlink, so how do we do these? Well, I'll quickly give you an example of each. So insert a copy of file. It's just like like if you've done an attachment in an email, you can do all three of these, no problem. So insert copy of file, and you click on that, a new window is going to pop up saying insert copy of file, and it has the Smart Notebook logo. And I'm just going to attach the first one I come across here, anatomy of a tweet. So I'm a big Twitter fan. I click that one and click open. But really open means attach. And now I see that here's a copy of that file, and here's the file size. Is it inside this folder, this Smart Notebook folder? And if I was to double click on that, it's going to automatically open, and I already have it. Oh, there we go. There's the anatomy of a tweet. And then I just close it out, and I'm still in my lesson. If I went and say if I did shortcut to that file, same process again. I look for the document, I'm just attaching it, again I'm just organizing it, and there I have the same icon saying it's a PDF document with the shortcut arrow icon, and if I click that, it's still going to open just like before. It's still going to open the same document. But again, if I was to share this document, the Smart Notebook file, it would not take this file with it. And to insert a hyperlink, I can copy and paste the hyperlink, or if I know what it is right off the bat, like Google, I can type that in. And if that was a long URL that wasn't very descriptive, I would give it a name like that. And that's what's going to appear over here. And it even takes the favy icon and puts it in there for you just so you can easily recognize it. And it lets you know what these things are. So if you see the size of it noted here, that means that that's actually embedded into the file. This is a shortcut, and this is a shortcut to the website. Okay. And again, if I was to click on this, it's going to open my web browser and go right to google.com. Which it did, it just happened to open it in my other monitor. Again, this is all about not having downtime. Okay. So, Properties tab. So we've gone through page sorter, we skipped over gallery, we've talked about Attachments tab, and now we're going to talk about the Properties tab. Now, we can access the Properties tab a couple different ways, but today we're specifically talking about tabs. So if I was to click on an object, can you attach to a particular picture or slide? You know what? That's a really good question. I was wondering if you could. Shortcut to file. Now, I know there is a way. I'm just thinking, but I did that by mistake one day, and I'm trying to remember how I did it. You know what? If I remember, there we go. Yeah, thank you. Good question. If you go up to your text menu and you go Insert, and you can insert, when you click Link up here, it activates a slightly different window. You can embed, and now this is going to insert right onto the page. So if I was to type in here, www.google.com, and go Insert, okay. It's going to put a hyperlink that's activated when I click that little globe icon, and that will open up my web browser and take me to Google. If I go Insert, Link, Page in this file, it's listing here. It's taking the names in my page sorter, and I can link it to a page, and go OK. And now when I click that icon, it takes me to that page in my page sorter, which was the first one. Now, I didn't look there, but I didn't see. And then file on my computer and current attachment. So again, you can play around with this too, so that I could make this object a clickable object. So if I go here and I want to link that circle, slowly open. Wow. Okay, if I want to link that to a web page, www.google.com, and instead of telling it to click corner icon, tell it to click the object. And so basically it's going to turn that object into a big button. And then I click OK. Now, when I hover over that, oops. Did I click on that? Sorry. Click the object. Click OK. And now you'll notice that instead of getting the compass rose when I hover over it, it's now become the left click button. And I click on that. I've just left clicked on that, and it opened up my browser window. So it's ready to take me to google.com. You can see it loading there. Okay, so so there's a few ways to use the insert command. So through tab, and it's kind of odd that in a way it doesn't allow you to pick that command, but I think this insert is talking about items that are on the slide page, while this insert is talking about items that are added into that sort of Smart Document folder. Okay, properties. When we go to the Properties tab, there's a few things that we can do here. So mainly the Properties is talking about whatever page I've clicked on, I can control certain features within it. So under the Fill Effects tab, I can click, and whoops, I clicked, of course, the button that opened my browser again. If I click, let's say, the screen circle, as soon as I click that, it's content specific. So before I hadn't told it what I want to change the properties of. Now that I've selected this, and you can see by the selection dashes around this object, that it now gives me certain functions that I can do. Some of these functions I can control from the iconic toolbar up top, or I can do through here. So I can change things like its transparency, the color, the gradient fill that it's using. If there was text on the page, I can control various aspects of that, including line spacing. I can change how thick the line of the circle is, what color that is. And again, we're back to fill effects. A neat one that I think is underused also is that you can also animate objects that are on the page. So, and I can do that. Now this is, I know Candace, you were mentioning PowerPoint, and this is where they've kind of brought in some of the features of PowerPoint, like the animation. So in PowerPoint, you can animate objects. You can do that as well in Smart Notebook. So I can tell that circle that I want it to, say, fade out, and when I want it to fade out fast, and when the object is clicked, and whether it repeats or not. So, okay, so now I've clicked off, and now when I go and click that object, it fades out, and it's gone. So, and then I click it, so you can just kind of keep going like that. So another thing I can do is I can do a page recording. This is kind of neat. Now, you can do this with the pen tool, so you could be writing out an equation, for example, and recording all the steps, and as you're talking, it can record the audio for it as well. And then students can use a copy of your lesson and use it as a tutorial. Now I can go start recording, and it's saying it's recording right now, and what I can do is I can say move this circle, have it bouncing around the screen, and then go stop recording, and it's going to take a second, and now that I've stopped recording, it inserts a little toolbar down here where I can now play my animation. And it will remember the animation, so when I click save, and I can pause that as well, when I go to save my document, my animations stay, so I don't have to recreate it all the time. I think that has a lot of possibilities. You can basically do some of your own videos and animations. So that's basically what the Properties tab does. So what I typically do when I come to a program is I just start experimenting. I just would, right now, I would just go and I would click on objects and see what pops up, and then just start playing around with it and seeing what features are different than some others. Again, just kind of the way I work with it. Okay, so we talked about, it's almost 4. We talked about Page Sorter tab, the Attachments tab, the Properties tab. Let's quickly go into the Gallery. Okay, Gallery's changed over time with all the versions of Smart Notebook. What's stayed the same is there's several folders, and the names, for the most part, are the same through all the versions. My content has always been there. My content allows me to take anything that's on my page, and I can drag it into the My Content folder, and it is now an object that I will always have, and I can simply pull it out, and it's on the screen. Now, you could think, if I was to have taken an image off the web, and it was an image that I was going to use a lot, and I'll just bring up I'll just bring up, let's see. I'm just going to bring up my, if I don't crash my computer here. Okay, I'm just going to bring up this article I was reading earlier. And I'm going to use the camera tool, which we talked about last day. And I'm going to use that to take a picture of an item. So let's say I was going to use the picture of this guy, and I knew it was going to be something I was going to use a fair amount. Okay, so that's now captured to my Smart Notebook file. I can take that picture now and I can store it into my content, and there it is. So no matter, whenever I open Smart Notebook and I was going to create a new file, I can always go into my content and pull this object out. And I can still continue to manipulate it. So that's kind of how my content works. Gallery Essentials are kind of the key things that you can find that will assist you in creating your lessons. Now, we obviously don't have time to go through all these, and most of them are grouped by subject area. But what I would suggest to you between now and maybe the next session is just go in and just kind of go through each one. I usually myself go right towards the interactives and multimedia, and I'll also look in the notebook files and pages. But if you click the chevron here to the left, it will activate the drop down. And now I can choose to pull out different interactive elements. And I can tell they're interactive elements because some will have a little icon on the bottom as a speaker, so that's a sound object. This one with the red circle with the F, that's a flash object, so that will be some sort of animation. And all I do is I left click, hold, and drag that object out. And this one here is an abacus, interactive abacus. Okay, I see how it works. That I can move, and then when I get my number, I can click this arrow, and now the number's shot out, and I can use that to store. So again, just going through and seeing what elements, and I would suggest to you that it doesn't matter if you teach English or not, go through all the folders because you never know how one of the interactives, it might be something that you can utilize. It just happens that they have to categorize it as something, but it might have multiple uses. So that's the Gallery Essentials. And there's the lesson activity examples, which is also a good one, because what they do is they put they try to show all the bells and whistles of interactivity that you can have in Smart Notebook into these pre-formatted slides. So all you do is you left click and you drag out a slide, and again, this is going to show how you can add interactivity, and I'll just close that toolbar, and it says which of these words are verbs, press the balloons to pop them. And as you click each balloon, oops, again my computer's slow, it pops and you hear a popping sound, and this is indicating that no, that one wasn't, apple isn't a verb. But I could click spin, and spin says yes, it is a verb, and I get a check mark. So you could kind of see where you could create other scenarios which would utilize that same sort of pop and reveal. And again, and this is saying there's 29 different slides showing different ways to add interactivity, like example labeling here and ordering. Online resources. Now I know right now Teachers Hub, lesson activities, that's a searchable lesson activity area, which we will go on to discuss more in lessons, sessions 3 and 4, when we start looking at how do you download already made lessons and how do you search them out by curriculum. We'll be taking a look at these areas here. In a Smart Exchange, I did try that out today and it was down. Here I would suggest clicking on this link and signing up for their Smart Ed Compass newsletter that you get emailed to you. Just gives you some tips and tricks that come to you every month or so. Okay, let's see, are we going to have time? I'll click down quickly. Oh, and you'll see Google 3D Warehouse. That's, if you have one of the newest models of Smart Notebook document cameras, the Warehouse is going to allow you to do some what's considered kind of virtual reality type stuff. I won't be going into that over these sessions, but if you do have a new camera, how about email me and we can kind of meet and go over how to utilize that. You know you got a new camera if you've got a little cube, looks like a Rubik's Cube. If you got something like that with your digital camera, then give me a call and we can go over that. The next tab for today, and this one is the new Gallery Beta tab. If you have Smart Notebook 11 and don't see this tab, go back to the Gallery tab, and there should be a link down here that says, it would say something like Gallery's Essential Beta or Gallery Beta, and what you do is you click on it and you go through a process of downloading it and installing it. So if you don't have your administrative rights, you'll have to put a help desk call in for that. And I highly suggest everyone, if you don't have administrative rights, to contact your technician and request them. And basically, you just have to fill out a form, and then the technician will come by. And it allows you to install software on your computer. So once you do install it, and I would give yourself like an after school to do the install, not like first thing in the morning. Depending on your internet connection and your technical ability, it can take up to about 20 minutes to download the program. It has to restart your computer and reinstall some software, so it does take a little time. So when you click on the tab, when you do have it, basically what it's done is it's starting to take this tab and this tab, and it's merging it into one. And if you've used PowerPoint or Word, you know when you search clip art, you can search clip art online. Well, that's what they're kind of doing. Before, when you downloaded Smart Notebook, the gallery was this huge download, and you actually downloaded all the interactive elements of clip art to your machine locally, which could be, could take a lot of time. And what they're doing now is they're doing what most companies are. They're moving everything to the cloud. They're storing everything online. So when you come here, and today I searched for the word pull tab. I could have searched for the word timer. And it's searching my computer, and it's also searching their web resources for different interactive timers. So this one isn't interactive because it doesn't have any icon associated with it, but this is a timer that probably everyone's fairly familiar with, that you can, this is an actual countdown timer that you can use. So that's a new feature, and you can filter it by picture, is it a manipulative, like an interactive, sound, video, background. So there's different ways that you can narrow your searches down. It definitely becomes a better way than trying to, again, filter through, oh, I remember I saw that somewhere, and what folder was that in? Again, coming here and searching for it. And it also will search your content as well. And there are some settings that you can apply. And so right now I've run over my time once again. I think where we'll pick up in the next session is we'll talk about the toolkit. And it will only take about 5 or maybe 10 minutes to talk about. It's kind of a new feature. It is a new feature for Smart Notebook 11. And I have a slide made up to kind of demonstrate how you go about using it. Whoops. It's kind of scared me when that beeped. So for the next session, we'll be looking at the final tab that we didn't have time to look at today, and we'll talk about how to search for lesson activities online, and we'll probably in lesson 4, we'll start looking at how do we take those lessons and kind of deconstruct them, customize them, and go about saving them. So I hope that sounds good for everyone. Thank you for attending the session. I hope it was helpful. And today's resource, the video will be online probably by tomorrow afternoon. So if you know anyone who wasn't able to join, feel free to pass the website address along. And again, that's markbates.ca. Okay, talk to you later. If you have any questions in the meantime, please don't wait until next Thursday. Feel free to email me or find me on link. Okay, have a good night.